pressure on him.
I want to go stand on the roof.
That's a little bit extreme.
I know how windy it is.
There's some intimacy levels going on right now. Especially as after we found out what his CCP designation is. Yeah, that's probably more appropriate.
That's wrong.
Maybe some gin?
I have a second bottle of water. I haven't touched.
It's the name that you gave there. What was?
I mean, it's
Pictures from Fabulous.
nobody snapped it yet. Nobody snapped it.
Can I sit here with these on?
Let's just keep this in our
Oh
minds.
wait, we can do it together. Wait, you're blue and I'm red. Yes, that works. That's almost as if we planned it.
I'm not gonna ask.
Flight chipmunk.
You haven't got time on them?
10-2. We've got plenty of time.
Plenty of time. Alright, we'll
It's
probably wait.
now flight train.
Probably wait until we get people in.
Yes.
I love that new map, by the way. The shadows and everything is so cool.
It's so good.
I got to go to the cave.
Well, they're actually working for
Sooner or
us.
later, all pirates are on the ground. I'm gonna turn around and pull people up.
Great. You're making it worse.
It's taking, yeah.
Flying by the seat of their nuts. Yeah.
Yes.
Ground control to Major Tom.
I thought we were going to do the song that they have in the trailer. What was that called?
Oh, raise up.
Yeah.
I couldn't do that one.
And now I just have do 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 in my head.
Panorama.
Do, 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 do.
It's just now we're singing.
We're far too happy for this, by the way.
Yes, we are. Although we've had like 2 hours of mostly good news.
Well, I haven't looked at Discord yet.
Largely positive.
Mostly positive. People were asking about the some of the questions were
Some of the questions for.
when I was asking these.
No, for the thing that he missed. I never know what to call Rouge Talks.
Oh yeah, that's people are interested in the new ship and
Well,
the whole,
new ship.
And the whole hinting at thingies.
Well, hinting's half the fun. I know more information than I'm letting on.
No, I've.
You know, we were half expecting more devs in here than players.
This is your revenge time.
We're going to pop in for 15 minutes.
That's all right, don't worry.
So
We won't lose any sleep over it.
We'll sit in the back and heckle.
That's what we was expecting.
Difficult questions.
What are you talking about? You know nothing.
You can if you want to.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd
Welcome
like
to this evening's events.
This is not any pilot roundtable. This is a master
Now I can't stop doing it. So this is awesome. Last year we did our sort of first roundtable when we just launched. And this year, this is our first sort of play round. We did a presentation last year. Quantum did a really awesome presentation on being a better Valkyrie. Come on in. You're late. No,
He's 5 minutes early.
He's 5 minutes early. And so this year, we'll probably get more people coming in, but we might as well kick it off. We've got 3 incredibly talented pilots, community contributors here that are happy to answer any questions you have about your goods, play styles, other games, movies, the Ghostbusters movie. I don't know if you've got an opinion on it.
It's not great.
But anything you like, so they're here to answer questions that you've got, especially if you're interested in sort of refining your skills and bits and pieces there. So without further ado, I'll hand you over to the guys if you'd like to introduce yourself from right to left, and I'm going to give you the audience.
So, hello, I'm QD. I did the player talk last year, which mostly aimed at sort of trying to give people to think what to think about when they're thinking about trying to get better at the game. Hopefully this is going to be most along the same lines, but the guy who set this all up.
Hi, I'm General Stargazer. I did a presentation at Vegas as well for more for kind of orientated around just giving you the basic concepts behind the game. A lot of kind of teaching you about how to fly, basically. I've got a kind of specialist field similar to Quantum in fighters. I'm quite experienced also in heavies and support. But speaking of support,
You can all boo me now. I'm the support. I'm the one that kills you when you're doing one-on-one duels. But yeah, my name's Anska. I'm the person who, if you ever kill me, gets excited about it.
Because you're doing the job.
I'm doing my job, but I get quite excited when people kill me. They're like, but no, you shouldn't be excited to kill them. It's like, but I'm doing my job, you killed me, yay! But yes, I'm the person that basically plays supports and runs around left and right and has my name screamed on Discord, what my husband's not too happy about, so I'm totally done that. But
yeah, many a time it's that support's coming at the last second. You got that deal, just as you thought you were going to finish off the target.
Yep, she's the reason nobody dies.
Yes.
It's very upsetting.
But yeah, we're open to pretty much any questions you guys want to ask. We're here to answer them. So
Yeah, this is mostly a Q&A.
Yep.
If you're brand new to the game, even then, there's no silly questions. We've probably heard them all already, so...
all three of us are on the community Discord, and we pretty much answer any question that's ever thrown at us, ever. So yeah, that's the thing.
Oh, cool.
Yay.
So when you're tracking, for like instance, in a raid for a fighter or something like that, and say you kind of overshoot where your lead is, and you find they actually fall, the target reticle falls underneath, like the front of the cockpit and everything.
Yep.
How do you then reacquire your target easily?
Do you want to do that one? Or I can do it.
But my answer is awkward. I use the radar more than everybody else who plays this game ever, apparently. So I'm always looking at where they are on the radar, regardless. Like, I've got a second eye tracking the reticle, and that gives me angle. And it's probably the reason why I love the radar update that they did this patch, because the ships are now triangles. They're now polygon chevrons, so you can even like get where they're going on the radar. But generally, people are creatures of habit, so they will stick to a similar flight path to the one that they were on previously. So if they were looping into you, they will probably still be looping into you. Yeah, basically.
It's. I think it's a lot of cases as well. I mean, personally, I end up using the lead indicators more as a like direction indicator. So you kind of learn your environments very well, and you can kind of figure out where they're going to go. So if you end up using the lead indicator more as like, well, that's the way they're going to fly, and then adjust your shot accordingly, it normally works out fairly well. Yeah.
On that note, I'd never shoot at the lead indicator ever.
No. Just use it as a general guidance as to where they're flying, and you will end up figuring out where you need to shoot for your shots to actually be landing on the target. Any other questions?
My question is about warm-up time. So I know that different pilots, and I see I watch you guys in streams and everything like that. My question is about sort of warm-up time and how long it takes to get into the zone. Because I've heard people talk about sort of the Valkyrie zone, like wanting to just sort of play in a relaxed fashion, wanting to play competitively. Do you find that when you start playing, you're just immediately like there, or do you feel like it's like 2 matches, 3 matches? Like, what's the right amount of time to get to kind of peak damage, if that makes sense?
I'll answer. I mean, it's probably different for these two as well, but for myself, usually when I start streaming, my first game, I'm absolutely abysmal, if I'm honest. After that first game, I feel like I've kind of warmed up. I know I just go back into like the previous mode of just killing things. So I've warmed up, I practiced, I remembered how I need to be shooting, I remembered how I need to be flying. Sometimes it changes depending on like the enemy team composition as well. Sometimes it's a case of, well, you look at the team comp for the enemy team. If there's particular types of ships, you end up kind of adjusting. And again, that ends up, if you've ended up playing 1 or 2 games, sometimes by the sort of second or third game, you kind of figured out what you need to do to counter what they're doing. So, I mean, yeah, normally after 1 or 2 games myself, I'm normally okay. But
I'm normally 3 for me. It's literally the first game, especially when you're streaming, people are watching, you're like, yeah, they're just seeing you getting blown up so much. Your first game, it's basically, you've got to work out who you're playing against, especially. Second game, it's beginning to get into your tracks. By third game, you're used to it again, so it's good fun.
It's very mental state for me. The more I'm enjoying it, the more likely I am to get in the zone. If I'm against ones, it might even happen first game. If I'm just playing against sort of the newcomers that haven't made name for themselves, they're not great pilots, I mostly don't really focus that much. There's been a few times on stream where I've really been in the zone, but the only time where I can tell you I was 100% my best was the very end of the tournament that I lost. Where all of my team died. I was completely on my own against 5, and I turned around and I killed most of them on my own. That's the only time I've ever been like, yeah, hand on heart. That was, yeah, pretty much that.
that being said,
Sounds like
was it the Ghostbusters cars? I was going to say, that being said, I think myself, and I think you as well, we behave very differently on the stream than we do off stream. In terms of like our aggressiveness towards other players as well.
I don't know, Quantum's quite aggressive. As a support, I have to watch people, and Quantum's quite aggressive.
If we know we're not being watched, we tend to be a little bit more ruthless. Let's go with that. Any other questions?
When you guys are squadding up and fighting together, do you bring any of the terminology and the way you're speaking to each other over from like EVE Online fleet command stuff?
There's a funny story about that.
Or is it a whole new language, or is it a little bit of both?
I don't think so.
I'll do up. It's a lot of us came from EVE, and you do have like PS4 players, you've got the PC players, and we often call support lodgies because there are lodgies there. Now we had someone who'd just come in from never done anything with CCP, had just come into EVE. We were going, oh, you're the lodgie, and he's like, lodgie? And he thought that's why my ship is red, because he thought that was like post people, lodgie. So from then on, logistics of post. So from then on, my ship's skin is red because of that.
Royal Mail Red.
But it was that we knew what lodgie was, but it was interesting to see where his brain had took that word and had gone all the way to like post.
I mean, for myself, it depends on who I'm playing with as well. I have noticed that when you're playing with other EVE players, you can use, obviously a lot of the shipwrecks on the game are based on EVE ships. So it is handy sometimes to have knowledge of the EVE ships, so you can direct people to particular locations on the map. In terms of particular terms, there is some things that do leak through, like blapping someone, for example, just focusing fire on someone. There's a few different terms that you do end up. I mean, calling targets primary. It's a simple thing that you focus fire on a target, get it killed very quickly. It's something that you've learned from EVE that you can then bring to Valkyrie. But then there is. I think you're probably the least EVE-centric person among the three of us.
So when I'm calling, it is mostly Valkyrie terms. I've occasionally picked up EVE ones when I've been with the EVE guys a lot, but for the most part, it's pure either just Valkyrie or maybe like terms borrowed from MMOs that I've played, where I just need people to focus on a specific thing or get out of the way or whatever it needs to be. Just the quickest way there. Whatever the quickest word is normally the one that gets used.
We've ended up inventing a few creative terms as well, like no warpy is the simple one of bouncing into a heavy while it's spooling up its micro warp drive to prevent it walking away. Tugboating is another one of my favourite ones as well, where you fly a fighter right up behind the back of a heavy and you end up pushing the heavy along, so it's got no control over where it's going or what it's doing.
Those are probably the two main ones.
Those are probably the two main ones that are quite amusing. Sorry?
EMP.
Yeah, EMPs, even though it's technically, if you get hit by a target that's using if a heavy is using its EMS and it hits a target, it's EMP'd, it's stunned essentially in space. It's again just another one that we've ended up using.
Because if somebody's got an EMP, like you're the heavy and you've EMP'd someone, you want everybody else to focus on that person because they can't dodge, so it's going to be the most effective
Frozen in
fire.
space, yeah.
Yeah. So that's probably the main three.
Mm. Any other question?
So do all three play on the PC? And if so or if not, what do you use, a standard controller, or what controller do you guys use, just out of curiosity?
What's up?
Okay. So I think we're all using the Xbox controller, but we're all Rift, and I'm very anxious to get home because the patch drops when I get home to see if my Steam controller is something that's really fun to play with.
I mean, I used the standard Xbox controller that came with the Oculus Rift as well. I have tried the Elite controller. I do know a few guys that also use the Elite controller. Invariably, the extra paddles that people have on the Elite controller is just a case of they use it for push-to-talk comms. They don't actually use it for anything technical within the game. Yeah.
Well, Del Toro's used the paddles for roll.
I mean, yeah, it's a case of
Flavor.
people will change.
Yeah.
People use different controller settings to whatever suits them best, really. But I think
I'm just a standard Xbox controller. I do want to try the hot stove because I have heard a lot of good stuff about it.
Yeah, I haven't actually experimented with the hot S at all. I know there are a few Rift guys that do use the hot S controllers as well.
I admit the PS4 controls were really fun.
Yeah, was it Gotan did a video covering the hot S controller?
Oh no, I just meant the PS4 controls
Oh,
themselves.
yeah.
It was interesting to see the difference. It was the same, but different.
Yeah, just because of the layout of the controller.
From experience, like with other players that are using the joysticks, there's no inherent advantage over any of the control platforms at the moment. So if you're wondering, just use whatever you have the most fun with, whatever you feel like is best for you.
All I've done so far is the demo.
Okay.
That was it. So I'm
Nice.
curious as to how you're going to get into the game and what platform and all that. So thanks.
I want to talk to those guys. I have a question about map strategy. So obviously you guys are quite used to maps and we're bringing in another one or two. Is there maps that you feel, if you're a new pilot starting out, that that would be better for them to kind of get to grips with, or do you have favourite maps strategically, or where are your favourite maps or maps for moves?
Should we each chime in here? Again, do you want to start on the right? We'll go at the left again.
In a word, avoid Cathedral.
It's not as bad as it used to be.
No, it's better now, but it's still probably. Well, actually, the new map is really, really open as well. This is the one thing that I'm kind of a little bit anxious about. But the more open the map, the harder it will be as a newbie. If you meet 1-5 in the middle of a battlefield and you're out in the open, you're just food.
Not a chance.
If you've got an asteroid, you can hide behind it. If you've got a station that you can duck around, you can hide behind it. Odds are, if you're against 1-5, he will still hunt you down, but it will take him longer. Like, it will always take you longer to die if you're weaving in and out of stuff. So the close maps like Shipyard, probably the best one for it. If you invest a little bit of time in learning Shipyard, it's still probably the best one to dogfight around. But just whichever map you're on, don't get caught in open space.
I would say for easiness though, for new players, Gateway, there was Gateway, I would say, 'cause it is, you've got, if you're doing control, you've got dip, you've got, it's literally almost a straight line,
Yep.
but you've also got the fun of it as well, you've got the warps and stuff like that, so it's very easy to get around there, but there's still hiding places, so people could go in and maybe have a look around and go, oh, that's a hiding place, so it's a very simple enough map for them just to get used to the mechanics, and then they could go on to other maps where there's maybe a bit more places for them to...
That's a good shout.
Yeah, I was going to say, as a fighter pilot, I absolutely love Gateway for the simple reason it's just like scaffolding everywhere. So
in and out of everything.
Yeah, I mean your regular ships that has your electronic countermeasures to get rid of incoming missiles. On Gateway, you can normally duck and dive inside and out of the scaffolding, so you don't even have to worry about trying to dodge the incoming missiles. You just literally just fly in and out, and you get rid of the incoming missiles. there are obviously areas on the outside of Gateway which are very open space and very exposed, so you can get caught out very easily if there is someone sitting out there, especially because the distance between your carrier and the Gateway itself is very open space, so you can get caught quite easily if the enemy team is kind of approached where your carrier is.
You've got mines for support in the Gateway tunnel.
Yeah, mines. Yeah, there are particular points on the maps as well where if you're in particular ships, you're very controlling of those areas as well.
There's a beautiful spot in Gateway where it's near, I think it's C, where one of the side utility tunnels, which like has a dead end to it, you can stick a mine.
That's my spot.
You'd be surprised how many people on the streaming will be like, "Where did you go?"
Because we probably shouldn't be telling the devs this, because it's in one of those impossible like dead spots.
Like even a month ago, I was playing and I was like, where is that drone? And I ended up finding a new part of the map on a map that we launched a year ago, and I played quite frequently.
Yeah, I love stuff like that. It's like the best part of the game.
I felt really cool about that. I was like, wow, that's really cool.
When the dead spots were changed for drones, it created a whole new level of me trying to find spots for drones. And there is, on Gateway, that particular point, it's a case of if you're a little bit high, a little bit left, right, or just low, you can't put a drone. But if you're bang smack in the middle, you can get a drone right in there.
And you know that some people know about, so you put a mine, so when they go to do that, they go into
the
the
mine.
mine.
They go straight into the mine. As for kind of like more new player friendly, I mean, these guys may disagree with me, but I do quite like Crossroads.
Yes.
Because it is a nice balance between having asteroid cover, having structure cover.
That beam in the middle, it's open enough, but you still can hide and you can go underneath. Yeah.
And it's one of the more simpler ones for kind of finding objective points on the map as well. So again, it's probably, I mean, I really enjoy on B where there's the Galante POS. You can fly around it. I just love being able to do things like that of dodging incoming fire just by using the structure. It's great fun.
Hiding at the bottom.
Yeah, hiding at the bottom, hiding inside it. You can put drones inside it as well. There's some really great points. I mean, not to mention the amount of times it's made me laugh that
people crashing into the glass.
Yeah, the glass on the top is kind of semi-transparent, and people still end up flying into it. It's always a good laugh to see.
1.5's like trying to just you're curving round. So if you're in a dogfight and you're curving around a structure, because the bullets go in a straight line, they can't hit your target. Yep. So it all comes about who is trying to get the tightest angle. So you're literally like grazing the surface, and you'll see people just like,
turn too tight and go straight into it. Yeah.
Love stuff like that.
Oh yes. Any other questions?
Do you have any advice for newbies?
On anything in particular?
Just started the game and played a few starters. I did the demos on Oculus Rift and PS4 during some of the events in Holland.
Okay. So, you got the game at home, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. These guys are going to change it slightly in the upcoming patch and like going on from there. But there are a lot of different ships in the game. Most of them have a different feel. Honestly, as you unlock them, try them all. Invest a little time in trying each one, a couple of matches, to decide which one you enjoy the most. And even if you're not immediately amazing in that ship, stick with it. Like, each one has its own little quirk that people fall in love with. Like, there's people that love the Spur. It's the most useless ship in the game. But people love it because it's got a micro warp drive and it's got guns that are good enough to help it control points. The heavies are quite easy to use, to get to grips with. You can use them to explore the maps a little bit. You got micro warp drive to run away. You got options.
Running.
Support ships as well. They're probably the most complicated ones to play. But again, invest a little time and you might find you love them.
Sorry for interrupting you. is you're telling them to go straight into the PvP. That's great and fun, but also if you just wanted to have a look around the maps and maybe find where all the hidden spots what we're talking about, you've got scout mode. You can go in on the single player, go around the map, no one will bother you, you can have a look at the map. It's even just how pretty the maps are. You can literally go in and, because when Gateway first came out, I made the mistake of going in PvP, there's that in Orbit, that I got blown up so much. And I literally had, that was the one time I rage quit, went, nope, I'm going into Scout mode. Okay. But you've also got things like when you're doing the tutorials at the end of it, they've got an area where you can go in a ship, the bad guys won't shoot you, so if you wanted to practice, but not be worried about your kill count or, you know, how would you look around other pilots, you can just go and have fun, have a cup of tea, relax. Does this gun work? Does this gun work? Do I like this? Do I like heavies? Do I like sports? Do I like fighters? What's my play style? Without having to stress, you know, am I letting my team down, or it's just nice and relaxed.
I'm going to combine a little bit of what these two have said, especially in scout modes. I spent probably about an hour on scout mode, just flying inside and around one of the carriers, because the carrier on the internal makeup of the ships in scout mode is a little bit different from what it is in carrier assault, but it is close enough that you can learn the kind of layout of the carrier fairly easily, especially if you go inside the carrier. One of the things that you'll, still to this day it happens with me, once you're inside the actual carrier and you're near the core, it's very easy to bump into the sides of things. So if you're flying inside the actual carrier on scout mode and in practice, as a practice, you can learn to turn very tightly and kind of learn the sequence that you need to fly without hitting the sides of the inner workings of the ship. That being said, yes, supports are probably one of the most difficult things, but one of my big recommendations if you're just starting is try and get on voice comms with someone. Join Discord. We've got a community Discord full of other players. Come join us. It'll be a case of talk to your wingmen, essentially. If you're flying support, they will absolutely love you because you can keep them alive. And in turn, if you're under attack, you can call for the guy that you're keeping alive to come and help you.
If a support knows you're new and you're maybe not too sure, our support will quite happily, for your first couple of matches if you want, they will quite happily, if you don't mind, we'll go around, we'll follow you, and we'll try to keep you top, so you don't have to worry about dying. Obviously we can't promise that, because something like that may just come along and be like, we're going to heal you, we're going to heal you. No, I'm in the tubes, I'm sorry.
I used to run a program on, well I still technically do, on Tuesdays, called Tutorial Tuesdays, funny enough, with the solo objective of squadding up with new pilots. I'd fly a support for them, try and keep them alive for as long as possible. You get the most fun out of the game for being alive for as long as possible. Not to mention your score will get better and better and higher and higher. Eventually you'll learn to dodge incoming fire a lot better, so you won't be so dependent on a support. But
no, I don't know. I still haven't learned that.
To summarise, learn the ships and learn the maps, and to be honest, after that it just comes with practice.
But you were saying about the community, you've also got bits on maps, like they're talking about shipyards. I can't describe where it is, but there's a built-in shipyard that you can go down and you can actually practice how to fly. So you can go into scout mode, just keep going around in circles. You've got the tunnels, you've also got the map that you just said, Crossroads. You've got the bottom bit of Crossroads and the B. Down the bottom there's a little circle bit. Just spend 5 minutes going around it in circles. You may feel wonder why you're doing it, but it will actually help you with getting used to the controls. That's great fun. Tighter and tighter.
Yeah. There's basically like you almost want to call it like a loop, particle accelerator kind of loop. It's a really tight space, and at junctures it will be completely boarded off, so you're completely inside the tunnel. And then at other ports it will have like a triangle scaffolding along it, and if you sort of weave in and out of that, that's a very good evasive maneuver, just a really basic one, but really, really handy to have under your belt. There's stuff like that. Like when you know where things are on the map, it makes it really easy for you to pull something off that somebody else might not expect.
Any other questions?
Are the communities split up? Like, can PC players play with PS4 players, or?
we can, but we can't. We can't squad up, but that doesn't mean that we can't still do it. If we all speak to each other, and we'll count down, and we'll try to get in the same game. And sometimes it can be fun because it's almost that risk moment of, will we be in the same game or won't we be in the same game? But the community are, you've got the Vive, you've got the PC, you've got the PS4. We all play together.
Yeah.
We all sit and talk on Discord together. We all, for example, on Fridays, we have Banter. You have that small rivalry, PC Elite Race and console peasants, but we have banter jokes with it. On Fridays, we have the PC versus the PS4, but it's not like serious.
Yeah.
We just have a joke and we play. Sometimes it's like we had one Friday where there's a player called Goten, was a PS4 player, and he ended up in the PC team, and we're like, oh, we've nicked one of your people. So there'll always be banter, but the community is there's not a huge split. No. They are all together, they all have fun. You've got on the forums, it's good. It doesn't matter what console you get, there'll always be people there to hang out with and speak and play.
I mean, the method that Anska's talking there, it's not 100% foolproof. I mean, we did a 6-hour charity stream back in May? No, we're not May.
No.
February. I don't know where.
Wrong direction.
Pub crawl's back. And it was a case of, we actually had, for the first time on a stream together, we had Rift player, a PlayStation player, and a Vive player. And I think all but 2 of the games, we managed to get all the different types of users all in the same game together at the same time. So we had the streams coming from all the same people, all in the same match, which was great fun.
We're all chatting to each other.
And we're all chatting to each other, just having a laugh. At the end of the day, you just there to have fun. So yeah.
Singing songs.
Danger meows, you mean?
Danger meows.
But why? We can
charity.
Hide that away.
Charity.
It's worth looking at the video.
It's beyond words. Yes.
We broke Discord.
Yep. Yes, we did actually.
We broke you.
That too as well.
True.
Go for it.
So, I think most of you guys have been playing for most of the year, because of game running. What for you has been the highest point, in terms of the last year? For you, personally, individually, what's the high point?
In terms of new releases or
Just
achievements,
like,
or
I'm enjoying my time now. I'm enjoying Valkyrie the most now.
Probably losing in 2016.
oh wow.
Losing? In sorry.
The second tournament.
Ah, right.
Rocky, where like he lost it.
I don't know. I mean, my own personal achievements, I'm going to be the real horrible person here and say getting my 108 kills in one carrier assault was probably my highlight.
That was impressive.
Yeah.
Never managed double kill.
But that was broken.
I mean, that reason why you can't mention it?
No, that was broken. Basically. It's fixed. It is fixed. It's a better fix. On the charity stream, I managed to almost get 10k in healing, but it is now fixed. You cannot get 10k in healing.
10k in healing being the equivalent of 100 kills, isn't it?
Yeah, that was it was fun, but still.
Against players or bots?
Mine was a combination of players and
Okay.
bots. I first of all, I did it, I will admit, in an Ascent, and then I went back and I did it in a Wraith, and I managed to get 118 kills in the Wraith. But that was after the 108 that I posted on the Ascent.
Anska's would have been against players.
But no, I think my house up was when you were talking about the community, is we managed, I think, was it 9 people that we got multi-twitching one evening?
Yeah.
And that was my high point, just to have that many people on and having fun and doing stuff. I'm very much for playing with people.
We did completely obliterate.
I mean, yes. And we did a EU versus NA tournament as well, and that was just fun.
Which is where these shirts were born from, basically.
It's against those guys as well, and they're kind of scary.
And playing against the devs is really, really fun too.
If you ever see Dev in the game, don't just think they're an easy kill.
Yeah.
Damn, you're Sign.
Yes.
Sign is a very, very good evasive pilot.
Some of them are great tour masters. They'll show you around the map. Any other questions?
Yeah, I haven't played for a little while now, but the problem I always found is if I get someone on my tail, is doing something to evade them. And,
Yep.
you know, I know the obvious thing, trying to get into a structure, trying to get something between you and then what? You know, just keep going, pull away.
Flying any particular type of class of ship?
Probably fighters.
I mean, personally for myself, it's be unpredictable is the best thing that I can recommend. Even in open space, as Quantum was saying, for example, if you're against wands, it's going to be very difficult to survive in open space, even as an experienced player going up against him. But you can make it living hell for him to try and kill you.
Yeah.
So break suddenly, turn suddenly, sharp banks, boost, find cover. At the end of the day, the longer you can keep yourself alive, the greater the chances are that somebody else is going to intervene, and the greater the chances are of you finding cover. There's loads of different possibilities. At the end of the day, it can be. We constantly have this amusing thing of when we're playing that when you're up against an experienced pilot, you can end up playing a game where you may end up only getting 1 or 2 kills through the entire game, but you have the world of fun because you're dodging incoming fire from an experienced pilot. You end up taking away and learning a lot from it. You don't perform well for your team, but you end up learning a lot personally.
In terms of tactical thoughts and ideas, it really helps if you can get a visual on who's on your tail.
I was actually going to give you sort of leading into that question. Is how much do you use the radar versus actually physically looking over your shoulders?
If I know that there's nobody in the match that is definitely as good or better than me, I just use the radar. If there's somebody there that is as good or is better than me, I will try and see the name of who's on my tail. If they're better than you, do your very, very best to find cover, because you won't outturn them, which means that you will eventually lose. If you think you're better than them, fight them in open space, because you'll win the turn fight, and that's when you will turn it around on them. Even if they're literally behind you to start with, if you turn it into a turn fight, if you manage your thrust and brake well enough, you will still turn it around before you die, and you'll be able to kill them. There's lots of different situations to that as well. If you've got people coming in on top of that, like you've got heavy firing at you in your middle of a dogfight, break off. The flak will kill you. It doesn't need to be aimed, so even if they're only firing near you and they're not doing that well, the attrition will ruin it for you.
It used to be a case of friendly fire did exist, so heavies had to be a little bit more cautious with like if there was 2 fighters going after each other. If a heavy started pounding them, obviously they could end up getting a team kill. But there is no friendly fire anymore, so heavies can just fire in as much as they like. But you end up having to find cover pretty rapidly.
You've also got tools now as well. You've got like the system you're doing. So if you're having someone attacking you, if you couldn't get on comms or anything like that, you can they've got buttons for you.
The comms wheels.
Comms wheels.
Comms wheels, so you can go heal me or assist me. And as you say, if you can evade long enough to get someone to come and have it as a 2 versus 1.
Yeah. Don't be afraid to cry for help. Everybody needs it. Literally everybody.
In more ways than one.
It's also true. This gentleman got a little angry with me at one point because he was having a duel with 1-5, and I swept in and literally blew him out of the sky, like half a second from full to nothing. But I did it because I had 4 people chasing me, and I knew I needed one's help to deal with them. So I turned a 5 versus 2 into a 4 versus 2, which really helped. But yeah, sorry.
I think using scout mode as well to sort of just learn to evade more close to cover. Because basically they can't physically hit you because they can't get a lead because there's a bit of the map in the way. Then you're going to stay alive longer, and the longer you can evade, then it becomes like a battle of wits. Who's going to quit first? Am I going to quit evading, or is he going to quit chasing first?
I shouldn't say this, but as support, you can go through the beams and cut the beams, so if someone's got their red thing on you and they're draining your shields, you can actually go to cover to stop it.
I was going to say the other point to raise is you have in your mind as well, when should I turn around this fight? if you're constantly being chased, you also kind of wonder, well, at what point should I stop being chased and just either consider myself dead or try and find allies? Normally, I find a case of once you've lost your shields, and if you evade enough shots and your shields have replenished, it's normally just worth having a crack at your opponent. If you end up losing your shields again, just dive for cover again and just slowly work at them. If you've got shields, go for it. If you haven't got shields, perhaps consider finding cover.
It's a good way, like a really good basic rule.
Yeah.
Like if you have shields, maybe don't pop your ECM if you've got missiles coming for you. Be more aggressive. Try things out.
Shields, go and hide for a bit, and then come back out.
Works out a lot better.
Maybe you guys agree or disagree or don't do this, but something I sort of found as well, like when I was playing a lot, especially is, so if you learn to evade really well, and you know your ship and how much damage it can take, if on the grand scheme of things, if someone good is chasing you, it's better for them to be wasting their time on you than defending the carrier. Then you can afford to take some bullets now and then, just to keep this person interested and to keep them away from the rest of the team who are doing...
Comes back to what I was saying earlier, where you end up with two experienced pilots that end up with a terrible score at the end of the game because they've just been going after each other the whole time.
Oh, I have a question. Switching targets in variables, yay or nay?
All the time.
What does that mean?
Like, if I'm, again, going back maybe to in the zone, I will just shoot whatever's in front of me. I'll literally be doing my turn after somebody, but like 3 people may come across that path and I will take a shot at all of them. It depends on how quick you are at picking up that somebody's going to be on screen in path.
I'm a little bit different.
Go on.
Generally, if I'm, say, diving into, 3 targets, I kind of assess which of the 3 targets I need to be going for. So if there's a support, I'll end up going for a support.
Yep.
I may have been chasing a fighter in the first place, but if there's a support nearby, I know that I'm not going to be able to kill that fighter, so I end up having to go for the support. Equally so, sometimes if there's a heavy about, again, sometimes if I've got a good approach on it, if I'm coming up from behind it and I can kill it easily, I'll normally end up going for the heavy, for the simple reason, again, if I start getting into a fight with the fighter and the heavy starts pounding me, I've got no choice. I need to go for the heavy. I typically, generally pick a target and go for it until it dies. Unless I get something that's I deem more threatening to me.
Yeah.
As a sport, I've got completely vaguely different. It's, you said the word?
Prioritize.
No, can't remember the word when you've got to choose. Triage.
Yes.
You've very much got to triage, especially now with the 5 seconds. You can have 3 people that need healing. You've got to look at will they be able to kill, if there's 3 of them attacking, who will be able to kill them and who won't. And unfortunately you are going to have to make that decision. You will not always be able to heal everyone. You've got to have a look at the surrounding, what maps you're on. Is this ship better for here? Will this person be able to go here? There's a lot you've really got to think at. You've also, it's just...
Not to mention the people shooting you as well.
Yes.
The basic theme there is priorities.
Yes, very much so.
But I honestly never waste an opportunity. Like
threat assessment.
Somebody else is like in the middle of a dogfight and you've got a snapshot on them and you stop them regenerating shields. It saves somebody else so much effort.
Never be afraid to go into the thick of it, even as especially
absolutely.
even as a sport. A lot of people maybe but I'm sport don't go into the thick of it. If you get blown up, you get blown up. That's half the fun. It's the only way that you're going to be able to properly get into the grip of it.
Death is how you learn.
Yeah, it's funny as well when I looked back at the old NA versus EU footage, because it was very much a case of like we're all holding back together. None of us want to fight each other. Compared to like now, it's a case of there's 5 of them there. Let's just go for one of them. Yep. It's just it's worth a try. If the 5 of them end up chasing you, you end up having a whale of a time dodging shots.
Yeah.
So,
You're just a bit more passive.
Yeah, exactly. You're there to have fun at the end of the day.
NEU is a good example of that actually, because 1.5 and I spent a long time being chased around by multiple people. And all we would do, we would be trying to kill their support ships, and that'd be about it. But we basically said to everybody, do your own thing. And this guy came in and killed everybody else because we were busy.
I absolutely loved it because Quantum and One were the big names. So there was a case of everybody came in and they were chasing them. And all I ended up doing was just going around killing everybody that was chasing them. So it was like, I ended up at the top of the scoreboards at like, what,
Most
3/4 of the games? Yeah, it was great.
Worst thing to get is television.
What are the techniques for not getting television?
For me,
This
it's
is
not
like
like
the
a fire.
verbals. When I'm in verbals, I'm gonna go. What was that kind of like? How do you sort of snap out of it?
Mine's really obvious. The radar.
Yeah, that's good.
The number of blue and red triangles on it tells you a lot. If there's not a lot of blue ones left, you should probably be looking around.
I generally do that as well, to be
Yeah.
fair. Again, I normally do the whole threat assessment thing. If there's a whole bunch of people shooting me, it's probably a good
Time to
idea
run away.
time to run away. But yeah, I generally look at the radar as well. It's normally not necessarily for the amount of enemy targets, but sometimes the amount of allies that are around you as well, because you know, obviously, based on the amount of enemy targets, how many of them are probably going to be shooting you versus how many are going to be shooting you and your allies.
This should be like your question to a T.
What?
Like
I
when
have
to.
to look at the whole map.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
literally, not just the radar, I literally have to.
Yeah,
You haven't got, I've got 8 people. There's 4 there. Where are the other 4? Where have they gone? What are they doing? And then suddenly you see the button of heal me, and you're like, but where are you in the map? So with support, radar's fantastic, but you've also constantly got to be looking
Visually aware.
visually everywhere. What are people up to? Who are they fighting? You're constantly with that. That's why I love when it's headshots. You physically constantly got to be on mode. You can't. Sometimes you can relax, popcorn, but
Oh my.
there was one time where literally these guys were in the game and I was support and I didn't need to heal. So next thing he heard of calls was, what are you doing, Anska? I'm having popcorn. What was that? Popcorn on the floor.
I was going to say the big difference as well is when you're in squads as a support,
Yes, squads as a support. You can
because you're different colours as well.
different. Yes, different colours. They're yellow.
Green tone.
No,
People that aren't colour.
Sorry. They're yellow to me. But yes, and you've also, like we were talking about the comm wheels. There as support, the comm wheel is your friend. You can scream out for help. People can do it. They can ask for heals. So as I was saying, if they're over somewhere, you can't tell what they're up to. And if you can't see their bars, you've not got like other MMOs where you maybe see the people's bars. You don't know what their health is. So it's a handy way of them going, I need your help, and you're like, oh, right, okay. But on top of that as well, I've lost my train of thought.
Just the realization that every time you press that button, however, they're probably dead.
Yes, and like I said, as well as that, you've also, if they're that far away, there's sometimes where you simply go, I can't
There's
help.
nothing I can do.
There's nothing I can do. We've had a couple of times, especially with like carrier assault, people will go straight up to the other bad guy's carrier assault, and you're like, no, I'm sorry, no, don't say you. And one of you.
Well, actually, on that point, some tactical advice for carriers. Sort of what is the way to approach when it's time to take on the carrier?
Oh well, so the carrier phase is very distinct.
Yeah.
Basically, as soon as all the points are capped one way or the other, assuming somebody isn't right on your tail and about to kill you, bail for the carriers immediately.
Once you're on approach to the carrier, I mean, you've got to take out the guns,
So-
etc. What is then your tactic?
Like there's a
Flying straight at the gun, it's shooting
Yeah.
you as well.
there's a well, we largely ignore the guns.
Yeah.
There's a holographic map.
Yeah.
And are you an even line player?
Yes.
Okay, so you know a Wyvern carrier. Basically, we'll call out like you'll go to the back or the
Bridge,
front.
bridge section, the rear section, underside, top side, you know.
Yeah, and then sort of if most of the carrier assault, well, most of the maps, the control points are sort of along the middle of the map. So if you're at point A and I'm at point C, you'll naturally approach the front of the ship and I'll naturally approach the back. And as long as we say that to each other, you can then like clear through the cooling nodes in a sort of more efficient manner. But that's about it.
You can do it.
If you're on point A on your team or point C on the schism team, you're actually better not burning towards the carrier but burning to your left. 'Cause there's
Go for the gate.
next to you.
Yeah.
I will also admit that if you get like killed by the carrier or by a player, you won't get like 10 seconds left, it's not worth going to the carrier.
Yep.
Look at one of the points,
Yeah,
go
head
to the
towards the
point,
point.
so as soon as that time's up and you can put a drone on, you've got the drone straight on, you can either then stay there and guard it, or play cat and mouse, or you can go to the next one.
Yep.
Yeah, going back to what you were saying, the holographic point that comes up when the carrier assault actually engages, there are little white dots all
Yes.
over the map. It's not particularly explained anywhere, but it's a case of you end up picking it up. The white dots that are actually appear on the holographic map are the locations of the cooling nodes on the actual carrier.
And if they're yellow, it means someone's attacking.
Yeah, and if they're yellow, it means they're under attack. If it's white, it means it's still present. If there's nothing there, it's been destroyed. In terms of like flight patterns and things around the actual carrier, we've noticed
Close, fast.
Yeah, close to the guns wherever you can. The guns do track quite slowly, so if you have got a bit of speed as you're approaching the enemy carrier, don't get me wrong, it can look incredibly overwhelming to have like 3 or 4 flat cannons firing at your face.
You'll soon get under them.
Yeah, but as soon as you literally hit the carrier, if you're flying literally alongside the carrier itself,
Yep.
invariably you'll only have 1 or 2 flat cannons shooting you. If you've got a steady speed in a fighter, you're not going to be hit by them particularly bad. Missiles is the only thing invariably that you need to look out for, because there are particular gun turrets on there that will just fire missiles. They'll fire a full salvo of missiles at you.
And those actually really hurt.
And those are the ones that invariably are the ones that actually kill you. The only other ones that I'd say is once you get into the main core area,
Watch the core giving you a hug.
there's 2 flak turrets right outside the core.
There's also one behind that. Most
Yeah,
people
there's
don't
one
shoot.
a little bit higher up above the core, but it generally shoots down at you. But the 2 inside the actual carrier, invariably they're the only turrets that we end up killing, because it allows you to fly around on the inside of the core area and just keep getting attack runs on the core itself.
Largely unpressured,
Yeah.
other than by players.
The only thing then that can stop you is essentially the enemy team. So if the enemy team is off trying to capture a point, or they haven't got back to the carrier yet, there's nothing they can do. You can just keep attacking it and it'll end up getting
So all
destroyed.
the guns are just focused
On the outside of the ship, generally we'll ignore the guns.
One other thing, if you're in a ship that drops actual mines,
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
yes.
a great spot to be
towards the
dropping.
carrier, because
We
the
had
defenders,
one player.
the defenders will go into it, not realising you've mined the hell out of it and explode, and then that
Yep.
gives you a
We had one player once, and they finished the game, and I think it was 4 kills that Vega got because we all went into the mine without realising, and literally the game had ended, and all we had
You
is
don't see it till it's too late.
yeah, Vega kills us, Vega kills us, and we're like, that's hilariously funny, because we literally we were all that focused on getting
on
the
mission
carry
attack.
on the mission and doing it that we all didn't realise the mines and just all went pop.
The only other thing I will say is back to what this man mentioned earlier. Get on the exploration maps and fly back and have a look at your own carrier, or the enemy carrier if you want. There are places around a carrier you can fly where you won't get hit by any of the guns.
The rear areas.
Yeah, and there's a couple of little, like, I don't even want to call them trenches because they're too thin to be trench. You can only fit a fighter or maybe a sideways
Oh, the ribs
arm.
underneath.
Yeah. There's some real hiding places inside the carrier. So explore.
Definitely. Any other questions?
Just to add to that as well, if these are very like combative and in your face ways to attack a carrier. So there's a ship that the Gorgon, which has really long range.
No. You can shoot with the Gorgon further than the flak can actually hit you.
Exactly. So you can actually sit quite a way off the carrier, out of the range of the flak, and actually away from most of the players who are defending it.
I knew I shouldn't have let you fly
But this
heavies.
is why we're about to tell you why you don't fly the Gorgon, because when you do that, you brake and to kind of stay out of range of the flak.
Yes.
So if there's any fighters on the outside and they see a nice fat Gorgon sitting right there in space with its foot on the brake, it's a nice big target for you to immediately go after, because there's nothing it's going to be able to
To
do.
be fair, if you're flying a Gorgon and people notice
You generally get killed.
Generally speaking, if you're flying a Gorgon and somebody sees you're in a Gorgon, they will hunt you for the rest of the match.
They
becomes their
do.
objective.
They do give you a bit of a headache because you end up playing the whole game with your missile alerts going off in your head, because they're just constantly firing salvos upon salvos of missiles from a distance.
Yep.
One of my pet peeves at the moment is the fact that they can sit back at their own carriers and they can launch missiles out into the field without you being able to shoot them. Yes, I know.
Don't get them about habits, because our friends, you can actually shoot them with the ascent.
Don't. Pet bad habits. Any other questions?
Regarding the radar, something I've looked up but couldn't find anything. Is there a way to activate that you can see your teammates on a radar when you're not in a support ship? Because I often thought it would be nice if I could see if someone of my team is around, but the radar, I think at the beginning when Valkyrie launched, you could see
everything.
And then suddenly not. And
I do
often
kind of
found
want that
myself suddenly without a team inside the enemy team. And is there a way to activate it?
So
Have I just seen it?
It does on some ships, it doesn't on others.
Exactly.
It is a bug that we've reported. Like the Maelstrom, the missiles.
Some of the heavies.
Is it all that?
As far as I'm aware, it's some of the heavies.
Okay.
You just can't see your allies.
Some of the heavies you just don't get to see them. I think most of the fighters can.
I thought, as far as I was aware, I thought you could on all the fighters. But then again, I do majorly fly the Wraith.
Later end of the training recently, since I noticed the bug.
Yeah.
But yeah, there isn't really a toggle or anything, but it's really important to have that. Like
spatial awareness.
It's good that you even notice that that's a thing. It shows that you use the best tool of information.
Arguably.
Which is a little bit question. I don't know how much you have played the new one, but was it just me or is the radar useless now? I never had something on it. Sometimes I had the feeling I only see what is behind me.
So the radar, I don't know if you guys added any logic to the radar, but it does seem to like highlight much more aggressively things that are targeting you.
Yeah.
The range is really short on it. That's the one downside.
That's the one thing I did notice. Yeah. The range was incredibly short on it.
Yeah.
Okay. Because as I said, I followed someone, lost him, looked at the radar, and nothing.
Yeah.
But I saw them flying around, not
See, the only
not
thing
that far
I
away.
thought would be cool is if he gone to the cave and so therefore you couldn't see on the radar. That would have been awesome.
The range.
The
The range on the radar is probably like, I don't know, I'm guessing 1.5k, which is like
Attack
way less
range.
than yeah.
That being said, you can't. There is like hidden. Well, I don't know the actual number. There is a range that you can only, even in space, when there's targets are close enough, you can actually see them. But there is an actual distance range that if they're that far away, you can kind of see their ship,
4K?
but you can't actually kind of select it.
Yeah, I think it's about 4k. But you don't get the numbers, you can't see.
Yeah.
Also, occlusion, object occlusion. If nobody on your team can see the enemy, they drop off the radar immediately. If somebody else can see it, even if you can't, you can still see them on the other side of the structure. But they do disappear sometimes. But that's just because nobody can see them.
The big hint to that is when both sides launch immediately out the carrier, and you can immediately kind of, once you get into range, you can kind of see this like plethora of enemy targets, and then suddenly someone dies behind an asteroid and you just lose track of them, and then they come. You know that they're going to come out the other side, or you're assuming they're going to come out the other side and they don't come out the top underneath.
Are you really talking about the radar? I always thought the radar showed it every time.
No, so we're talking about the HUD.
You only don't see the overlay, the brackets, they disappear. Right?
The brackets is what I'm talking about here. In terms of the radar, it's a case of
the radar functions the same way though.
At close range,
if there's no bracket, there's no radar.
Yeah.
Oh.
But the bracket is presented on a team basis. It comes from everybody, and that's how the radar picks up.
Questions?
I don't know how long we've got left.
We've got enough time for about one more question, I think.
Yeah. Who wants
or
the
none.
last one? I mean.
Your opinion, maybe cockpits. Do you use any other cockpit than the Galento one, or the?
I use the bright blue one, which I think is the same one that you use.
That's the enterprise one. I think it's called. I
I
don't know.
couldn't
It's
honestly
white
tell
to
you the
me,
name of it off the top
but
of my head. It's the
someone did tell me.
second. It's the second cockpit
Yeah.
skin on the fighter. Basically, the Eclipse skin, which I do know the name of for some random reason, which is the last one, and the first one are very kind of yellow.
Yep.
And obviously there is a lot of explosions in Valkyrie, so it's very easy. I mean, for myself, I generally lose track of sometimes of the whole HUD in the middle of an explosion, especially in carrier assault when you have a crap load of flak coming at you. It's very, if you're trying to track a target and you've got the flak, it can be a little bit difficult to kind of keep a sense of what's going on. The light blue HUD it does contrast really well, so you can kind of keep track a lot.
Same with the purple one on the heavies.
I think it's the third one in sports that I always use. I've tried the other ones, but I found that precise one was the better one for the
There's two schools of thought. We both subscribe to the one which gives you a much clearer heads-up display, because that's like, I mean, I fly almost exclusively on instruments, but the other one is there's a cockpit. It used to be a a premium cockpit, a gold-only cockpit, but they're all silver now. I can't remember which one it's called, but it gets rid of a few extra
one.
panels.
That's the last one.
Yeah. The Eclipse one, there's less physical stuff in the cockpit, so you have a better visual view.
As the Galante one is also one who don't has
the Galante one adds bulk panels down the bottom.
Yeah, which
it kind of makes your ship look really long when you sit
okay.
there.
Yeah. But it doesn't has on the side.
Yeah, immediately to your left and right, it opens it up a little bit.
Yeah.
I think that's, you have that one, but with that we have the same with the sport, and it is one where literally you've got, it's almost like more glass. I'm sure it's not, it's just lots of stuff. And for you looking around, you need just to have that wee bit more so you can actually see, other than having things that are distracting you from what's there. Because I have tried the other ones, and it was just like, I played one game with a couple of games before, and I was like, going back to the sort.
I feel a little weird sometimes. Like, if it wasn't for the fact that I was so dependent on the instruments, I would probably like take my visual position and then like stick my head right up against
you can actually do that. You can kind of like
Default
you can sit there and then recenter your vision, and then you can sit all the way back, and you're like, wow. You can like fly around like this. Yeah, it's like space trucker. I tell you what, I did that actually when I was flying a heavy. I got a new chair that you can kind of sit back on. So I sat myself there and then recentered myself, so I was like sitting here, and it was like cruising mode. Yeah, exactly. It's like riding an old chopper. Huh?
It's called the Hillmore maneuver.
The Hillmore maneuver. Oh man.
Because that's what
Hillmore did that as well, yeah.
I think one of the heavies, well, I'm not very tall, so maybe this is an advantage for me. You can actually like stand up and look behind. There's a little window, so you can see who's actually chasing you.
That's how you fire. Yeah.
But it is funny because you can literally poke your head out the cockpit
anywhere
as well.
with a heavy, right? So if you can see them, you can still shoot them.
Yeah.
I think I do, especially if the heavies is before the match, I lean back really wide, reset the camera,
I come really close.
and then you go much further in the cockpit and can see the stuff better because there's less stuff blocking your way.
There is funny little things you get, but the problem is that when you end up doing that is you have like a conal vision of everything in front of you. So sometimes it's just for amusement, and sometimes it does help. It's a little bit different for everyone.
That seems like
I think that's
a
our stuff.
cue to bail.
Thank you very much.
Do you want a hand?
No, I'm good.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. Very good. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Can I get a picture of those? Yeah. I'll do outside.
Stevie.
No, I
They really nerfed me hard today. I had very little amount.
You need more minions.
Oh yeah.
Join her.
No, that's what kind of is.